Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. We're going to do oracle cards today. We are going to get some messages from our guides. See if Spirit has any advice. I'm not going to do a normal current energy, blah, 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 because we all know what we're going through. We're not newbies to all this. If you are watching this, then you already know what you're going through. So we're going to skip right to the advice part and see what messages our guides have for us today. And look how pretty these cards are. Oh, that's nice. Anyway, here we go. Let's just jump right in. It is a beautiful Friday here in Albuquerque, and there's our message. Never judge another. Well, I mean, you know, guys, it's so easy to judge people. It's so easy to tell them they're right or wrong, or, you know, give them advice on what's best for them. And even giving advice, I think, can be a level of judgment, right? Especially if they don't ask. Like, that's treading on an area of judgment, because if they haven't asked you for your advice and you're giving them advice, then you're judging that what they're doing is wrong, or that they can't figure out what they need to do themselves. So that's not maybe the textbook definition of judging another person, but it is a layer. It's a facet of it. And you know, as we grow in our spirituality, we discover these layers and understand that as we understand newer concepts, more advanced spiritual concepts, and I don't say advanced to be that it's better or worse. It's just the deeper layers of it, right? And as those things start to make sense to us, we have to revisit the, I don't want to say rules, but we have to revisit the way in which we interpret things like judgment. And then we've got everyone has value. I was talking literally to my therapist this morning about a bunch of stuff, actually. And I won't get into exactly what we're talking about, but the name Hitler came up. And I think my dogs just turned my TV on, so if you hear something in the background. Anyway, even Hitler had value, right? And it's hard to see that. It is very hard to see that. And I'm still not sure how Hitler has value, so I won't try to speak to that. But if everyone has value, then, you know, that would be a thing. Learn from your mistakes. You know, there are no failures. There's only learning on the way to success. So don't mistake your failure for failure. Take the knowledge and move forward to that success. In the bottom of the deck, we've got don't relinquish your power. Oh, that's a big one, right? Don't give away your power. You know, if you say something and people don't agree with you, that's okay. You don't have to take their truth for yours, and they don't have to take your truth for theirs. And it is, I don't know where the book went for the cards, because I was going to read from the book for you. There it is. Anyway, yeah, don't relinquish your power. Don't give away people. Don't give your power away to people. And by power, think about electricity as power, right? It's energy. You can unplug to take your power back. You can reset, you know, like an RF switch on an outlet. And that's funny because I actually had an issue with my hairdryer yesterday, and the RF switch in one room was affecting the outlets in the other room. And I happen to remember this being an issue in my condo that I lived in years ago. So I instinctively knew, based on that experience, how to fix it this time, which I don't know why I felt the need to tell you that, but it had to do with power, right? So, you know, sometimes you just need a reset to get your power back, to bring it back to you. Giving your power away might be things like letting people define who you are, letting people control you, letting people and how they have an opinion of you affect how you have an opinion of yourself. Don't do that. Anyway, well, learn from your mistakes was the first one we got, so maybe we'll start there. Earth, sorry guys. Earth is a schoolroom. Your higher self has chosen to enroll in this dimension to learn lessons that the spirit world does not teach quickly. Congratulate yourself for the bravery it takes to leave the comfort of feeling at one with everything and choosing to experience the sensation of separateness while you go about your tasks. You are expected to make mistakes. Having said that, it is the wise soul who always learns from them. Life on Earth continually presents you with challenges, and quick learners find that they are presented with fewer struggles. If this card appears in your spread, your guides are reminding you that the more you use the knowledge of past experiences when confronted with a life lesson, the less often these lessons will be presented to you. Take responsibility for the mistake and do not look to blame another for the consequences. Instead of blame, move into a state of understanding and acceptance of the lesson. In doing so, you will not need to repeat this behavior in future interactions. In life, there are no failures, just possibilities of doing something differently than you are used to by using the knowledge of past experience. And I literally just told that story with the RF switch, right? So when we can find that lesson, well, it distracts your brain from trying to find the blame, right? Because you're on the other side of it. So blame and reason, two sides of the same coin. And if you think about it, if you're looking at heads, tails gets covered up and you don't have to look at it because you can only look at one side at a time. So if you're looking at the lesson, by default, you're distracting yourself from looking for the blame. So think about it that way. At the very least, you're distracting yourself by trying to find the lesson. Even if you don't find it, at least you're distracting yourself from not taking responsibility for whatever it is that you're looking at. I don't know if that made sense for you guys. I hope it did. Never judge another. Your higher self is just objectively experiencing. It does not come from a place of judgment. From its perspective, nothing is good, bad, right, or wrong. It just is. In this physical dimension, however, your awareness or consciousness is filtered through the human experience as ego. It is the ego that judges because it is fragile and insecure. It is usually happiest when it feels better than. Judgment is fear-based. It separates you from others when your goal is to acknowledge your sameness. Your fellow souls have chosen this earth plane at the same time. We just have unique personal blueprints that we're following. It's not your job to judge anyone's path. They are just learning different lessons than you are. Everyone has chosen a life circumstance and a human form to inhabit that will enable them to learn the lessons chosen by their higher self and guides. To judge their decision-making is fool's play. It is the ego that needs the sense of separation in order to survive. If this card appears in your spread, the guides want you to keep a watchful eye on your ego. Instead of sending someone the negative energy of judgment, bless them on their way. Instead of disdain, wish them Godspeed on their particular journey. Yeah, so if you can see the higher self or the best self in other people and know that whatever it is that they're doing is the only way that they can learn the lesson they're trying to learn, and just wish them well. It's definitely a way of resolving things for you in your head. And I think the first step to being able to do that, for me at least anyway, was something called Q-tip, and I actually carry a Q-tip in my pocket to remind me to quit taking it personally. If you don't take it personal, then you don't judge it, right? Because the judgment comes from our ego, like the book said. When you realize that we're all connected, everybody's a brother or sister of yours, and in some way, shape, or form, you'll find you're less judgmental of your family members than you are of strangers. And if you can think of everybody as a family member, then maybe it's a little easier to not judge them. I think the bigger part of this, for the purposes of today, though, is that you are that other person, right? You've been the mother, you've been the daughter, you've been the sister. And if you judge them, then you're essentially judging yourself. And at the end of the day, I think that's what this card is trying to say, is to not judge yourself, right? Don't stand in judgment of yourself. Don't beat yourself up that you should be doing this or you should be doing that. In fact, remove the word should from your vocabulary altogether. Let's replace it with could. You know, I should be making breakfast right now, or I could be making breakfast right now. Make it a choice and not a have to, because we do live in a world where we do have free will. What are the consequences of me not making breakfast right now? Okay, well, I don't eat, so I don't necessarily want to eat right now, so the consequence isn't really that big of a deal. Apparently, my dogs are trying to eat that, but anyway, when you think about judging, try to focus in on yourself and not judge yourself, and give yourself the compassion that you give to other people. I know that's not quite what the book said, but that's what I'm feeling in that card. If you're not giving away your power to other people, don't give it to your ego either. Don't let your ego have the power to judge you. And both of these cards are green, which is your heart chakra, which is where your compassion comes from. Open up your heart chakra and love yourself enough to not judge yourself and to not give your power away. We already read learn from your mistakes, and that would be your crown and a little bit into your star chakras. You know, that's drawing down that divine knowledge and understanding that whatever it was that you did or didn't do or was done to you or wasn't done for you is always in your highest good. And when you can find those reasons, you just move faster. Time moves faster. You jump timelines, essentially. Everyone has value. No one is greater or lesser than you. It's the natural instincts for humans to judge, but you must remember that at the core, we are all the same. We may look different. We've created different journeys for ourselves, but we have something remarkable in common. We have all chosen this dimension and this time to incarnate together. The energy of spirit is infinite, but there is a finite number of souls inhabiting physical vessels on Earth. And you are one of them. Everyone you know, everyone you pass on the street, everyone you see in the news, they are your brothers and sisters. Someone may be on a different path than you, but you must understand that they are playing their part. Judgment is an aspect of fear. Your job is to love everyone as you love yourself. Some souls have chosen difficult incarnations that may or may not involve you. Bless them on their path instead of sending the negative energy of judgment to them as a further hindrance. That's funny that it said brothers and sisters, because we were just talking about that. And it says the word time in quotation marks, as if it was a construct that was created for our understanding because there was no other way to explain it to our little brains in the long run. So when you think of time, and they say time is an illusion, think of it this way. Which side of the bathroom door are you standing on? Because time will move faster depending on that situation. That is what they mean when they say time is an illusion. When you go on vacation for a week, that week flies by. When it's a week before the vacation at work, that week drags. It's all perspective of your perception of time. That's what they mean when they say time is an illusion. It's not literally an illusion. You know, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be this big mystical thing. It's just that simple. It seems to go faster when you're having fun. And it goes slower when you're not.